From the time I was a boy, I clung to the belief that broken things deserved repair, that every crack, no matter how deep, could be sealed with enough care. That belief shaped how I approached everything in life, especially marriage. To me, it wasn't just a legal union or a romantic ideal. It was a sacred promise, a shelter built to endure the storms of life. Not just the bright days but the dark ones too. I never claimed perfection. I had my flaws, my failures. But for 14 years I gave Sophia my best. My time, my trust, my heart. Together we built a life. One made of shared rituals, quiet laughter, and a vision of growing old together. Hands intertwined on a porch washed in afternoon sun. Even when shadows crept into our lives, I held firm. I believed love, real love, was forged through trial, not abandoned at the first sign of struggle. I believed we were still solid. I believed in us. But that illusion shattered on an ordinary Wednesday, a day that dawned with no hint of the ruin it would bring. The unraveling didn't happen all at once. It came slowly, like a trickle that eventually becomes a flood. Sophia began to change, in ways so slight they were easy to dismiss. She lingered at the office longer than usual, citing back-to-back meetings, tight deadlines. Her phone habits shifted. Once left unattended on the kitchen counter, it now remained locked in her palm or tucked into her purse, always on silent, its screen flashing discreetly with messages she never acknowledged. When I asked about them, she waved me off with a strained smile. "Just work, darling. You worry too much." I wanted to believe her. I needed to. So I swallowed the unease rising in my chest and told myself it was nothing. That maybe she was just stressed, maybe tired. We'd both been running on fumes lately. I told myself we were fine. But then came the night that changed everything. She claimed a migraine and retreated to bed early. I stayed behind, half watching a basketball game as flickers of blue light danced across the walls. At some point, I wandered into the office to check emails. Her tablet sat on the desk, screen still active, unlocked. Then it chimed. I wish I hadn't looked. But I did. A message flashed across the screen, from someone named Julian. "Last night was unforgettable. Can still taste you." The words punched the air from my lungs. My hands trembled. I tapped the message, praying it was some horrible misunderstanding. But what opened wasn't a misstep. It was an entire world. A digital trove of betrayal. Messages spanning months. Whispered secrets. Photos. Voice notes. Even travel receipts. Weekend rendezvous masked as business trips. They had pet names. Inside jokes. Plans for the future. A whole relationship had bloomed in the shadows. One where I didn't exist. She had given him everything. Not just her body, but the tender corners of herself she once reserved only for me. This wasn't a drunken mistake. It was a conscious, sustained betrayal. Closed the tablet. My limbs felt numb. I didn't scream. I didn't confront her. I sat in silence, letting the truth wrap itself around me like a vice. I stayed like that until morning, watching the sky slowly turn from black to gray. The light didn't bring clarity, only numbness. When Sophia walked into the kitchen, she smiled like nothing had changed. I made her breakfast. Poached eggs, buttered toast, dark roast coffee, just the way she liked. She kissed my forehead and I mirrored the gesture, though something inside me had turned to ash. At work, I moved like a man underwater. I smiled, I nodded, I replied to emails. But all I could see were Julian's words. All I could hear were her giggles echoing in someone else's bed. I stayed silent for 4 days. Maybe I needed time to grieve the life I thought I had. Or maybe I was too shattered to act. But in that silence, something hardened inside me. On Sunday morning, she mentioned errands and left with her usual breezy tone, keys jingling in her purse like nothing had changed. As soon as the door shut, I waited 20 minutes, just in case she forgot something and returned. Then I moved. I pulled a duffel bag from the closet and packed with quiet precision. Only what belonged to me. Pressed shirts, folded jeans, my tablet, wallet, a toothbrush, a razor. Finally, I slid my wedding ring from my finger and placed it on her nightstand. It gleamed under the lamp, A symbol once sacred, now nothing more than a bitter echo. I zipped the bag. That's when I heard the floor creak. Her voice cracked through the air, laced with panic. "What are you doing?" I didn't look up. I continued folding a jacket with steady hands. "I know," I said. She stood frozen. Her color drained. What do you mean?" "I saw the messages," I replied, my voice cold but calm. "I know everything." She collapsed onto the bed, her voice trembling. "Please, let me explain." It was nothing. I was confused. "You've been distant." I raised a hand. "Stop. Don't insult me further." Tears streaked her cheeks. "You can't go. You're my husband." I looked at her then. Not the woman I married, but a stranger draped in a familiar shell. "You forgot that the moment you gave yourself to him," I said. She lunged forward, pleading. "I'll end it. Swear. We can fix this. I'll do anything." But the woman I had loved was already gone. I saw it now. The moment she betrayed me, she took something I could never retrieve. I lifted my bag and walked toward the door. As I grasped the handle, her voice split the silence like glass. "Don't you dare leave me like I'm nothing." Paused, turned slightly. "You made me feel like nothing first," I said. "And then I left. I didn't call a friend. Didn't book a room. Climbed into my truck and drove. I didn't have a destination. Only the need to move." The sun dipped low, casting a crimson glow in the rearview mirror, like the sky itself was bleeding. Still I drove. And as the miles stretched on, something inside me slowly stirred. A quiet, unfamiliar calm. I was no longer a man clinging to broken promises. I was a man finally free. Free to heal. Free to rebuild. Fragment by fragment, I would recover the pieces of myself I had surrendered. Not because she deserved it, but because I did.